Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. I'm up here at Nelson Bay. I've come on a bushwalk this morning where I've just walked from the car through the bush along this path here, and I've arrived at a steep rise which is made of sand, and it will take me up to the sand dunes, and then we can walk from there down to the Fingal Bay Spit. So join me for this walk where we can do a walk and talk, and I can talk to you about a book summary that I've come across just recently. A fantastic book summary by a noted author from the 20s in the name of Napoleon Hill, and the book is entitled Outwitting the Devil, and an apt book to cover on the Easter Monday following Easter for those who celebrated Easter yesterday. So just bear with me because it is a steep rise, so I will run out of breath, but I'll do my best to deliver this wonderful book summary. And why it's wonderful is that Napoleon Hill, back in the 20s, decided, through the guidance of his mentors and others, to go on do a project and interview many successful people. So he interviewed 500 CEOs, elite sports people, and people who were leaders in their field, to find out what made them successful and the lessons that we could learn and use to incorporate in our lives to help us achieve the goals and dreams that are sometimes reserved for the few. When he was on his journey there and interviewing all the people, a number of people told him that rather than just interview all the successful people, you're probably better to also benchmark and baseline your findings against people who are just normal and average, who may not have received or tasted the successes and may not have the gifts of the skill set of the outliers. So he also interviewed 25,000 what he terms normal people, and put together his findings in a book entitled Outwitting the Devil. But interestingly enough, this wonderful book, which I only got to read last night, the summary, I didn't even know that it was available. This book was not published because Napoleon Hill's wife and many others suggested to him that it was far too controversial for the times, and it wasn't till 72 years passed that the book was published in 2011. So let's see what we can learn from this book. So the first formal lesson from this book is that we spend our entire lives operating from either fear or faith. We're either scared or we truly believe in the path that we're taking, and those two things compel us to achieve what we want to achieve. He also goes on to say that your only limitation is the one that you have in your brain. So, almost 100 years ago, people were talking about the things that we're talking about today. So it doesn't come as a surprise that a lot of this psychology, philosophy is time tested, and I'm sure there are thousands of people well before Napoleon Hill who talked about the same things over the thousands of years of man's growth and development. But Napoleon Hill introduces us to a concept of the other self. And I guess the other self can probably best be described as your conscience, as your guardian angel, as the person, your mind that you talk to with constant chatter all the time, our subconscious. You know, it could be any one of those things. And he said that with this introduction of the concept of the other self, we need to stop giving in to fear and doubt. And when you listen to your other self, you can have stronger faith and belief in yourself. But it can work in a positive way, and it can work in a negative way, because it's the other self that the devil tries to undermine, and it divides men and redefines men as either drifters or non-drifters. So according to Napoleon Hill's big survey of 500 outliers, leaders in their field, and the 25,000 normal people, he found that there are people who are drifters and non-drifters. So his key point in the second formal point that he makes in the book is that the devil tries to turn us into permanent drifters, never getting round to doing what we are meant to do in life, and just chopping and changing and dabbling and not really making much road, but just going with the flow, going with opinion, going with feeling, and not amounting to much, I guess, is the bottom line. Because the devil, according to this author, first invades our minds. It invades our minds and attacks our habits. And by changing our habits, then he's able to manipulate us tremendously. And if you don't want to be a drifter, if you don't want to be manipulated by the devil, according to this author, you need to be a thinker, a person who's able to think for themselves, to set goals, and to basically stick to a plan, and to have habits which support other good habits, so that you can develop small wins which over time concatenate and compound into massive inroads and massive results. Because the author also says that drifters are influenced by externals, because it's the externals that dominate their mind. You know, what other people are saying, what other people are doing, what's the latest craze on Facebook or Instagram. So they're always being distracted, I guess, is the key message coming from this book. So if you're constantly being distracted and being impacted by externals, then you're going to be influenced by the devil, because the devil, according to the author, is the master of deception. So rule number one is to learn how to think for ourselves. As you can see, we've got the sunrise happening. It's a little bit overcast, so we're not going to see much of a sunrise. And the other thing that you'll notice is that the spit here is now permanently covered with water. And that happened earlier last year when we had some massive storms during winter, which swept away a lot of the sand that created a spit between the land, this peninsula, and the island there. So it'll be a few more years, I think, that we'll have to wait until the waters or to the sand is just pushed back into that spit area so we can get across there. So it's all about focusing on your dreams and on your goals. And they say that the drifter allows externals to dominate their minds, and they don't use their brains for thinking, but for worrying and being anxious. So the author says here, you've got a brain, and your brain's there to use for thinking, to serve you. And when we say thinking, we're talking about thinking about solutions to our current challenges, but not to spend our time worrying and being anxious, because worry is where you focus on your past. And when you're anxious, it means you're living in your future. So become present and live in the current moment is a key message here. Because drifting becomes a hypnotic rhythm, which keeps people busy with trivialities. What a strong, powerful, profound point that is. You know, and how many times do we have people around us who just get uptight and get carried away with the trivialities of life, and they seem to be hypnotized by these trivialities and in a rhythm which they can't break, they can't clear, they can't get over, under or around, but they just spend their time caught up in a rhythm of which keeps them busy with trivialities. So a key point there to don't worry about the stuff which isn't important. You know, just focus on the stuff which matters most to you, your family, and your future. And then the author then goes on to the third important point in the book, where he says that there are 7 principles which help us gain mental, spiritual, and physical freedom. So these are the principles that are mainly used by the elite outliers, the people who become leaders in their field. And let's just step through these. And the first one is definiteness of purpose. So if you want to be a leader in your field, if you want to not be a drifter, you need to have a purpose, and you need to be definite, very clear about what that purpose is. It doesn't have to be, or doesn't need to be, ambiguous. It needs to be solid, it needs to be concrete, so that you know what you stand for. Because if you fall for everything, or if you don't stand for everything, you'll fall for everything. So have a definiteness of purpose. The second thing is to have mastery over yourself, to be in control, to be disciplined, to be able to say you're going to do something and do it, to make promises and keep promises to yourself. Don't worry about everybody else, but the important thing is to be able to promise yourself and to keep that promise to yourself. Because once you can achieve that, you've mastered yourself, then you can do everything else that you wish to. The third point is to learn from adversity, to make progress and to learn from the things that happen in our lives, and to know that they're learning experiences. They're opportunities to be springboards and to be stepping stones to teach us, to enable us to grow into the future. The fourth thing is to control the environmental influences, who you hang around with, what you read, what you listen to, what you focus on. Don't let the externals control you, but shape them and use them for your own benefit, rather than them to shape you for other people's benefits. Time. learn how to use time and to know that there are deadlines for everything, and all good things will come to an end one day. So to set deadlines and to meet your deadlines. The sixth thing is to have harmony, to find joy in your life and to learn to live in the moment. To express caution, to not be too quick to jump to opportunities, but to be cautious, because the decisions you make today will impact the things that you do tomorrow and from that point on, because each decision leads you in a direction, and you've got to make sure that the decisions that you make are the ones which lead you to where you want to be. But the most important thing of all is to not be indecisive, to not procrastinate, because once you know what you stand for, what you want to achieve, then all you need to do is to go out and do it. So I think I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this morning episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club, where we went through and did a book summary on a wonderful book that, as I said before, I hadn't come across before, hadn't even heard about before, but Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And hopefully we can pick up some life hacks and some lessons that we can incorporate in our daily lives, and to make the most of today and every day, which is special. As we know, today will never ever come back. So whatever you achieve today, whatever you set up today, will determine your next day. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and let's stay in control and work with our other self, so that we can achieve the things that we want to achieve in our lives, to achieve our calling and to express our daily calling or our life calling, and to be our better self in partnership with our other self. So thank you once again for joining me. I look forward to coming to you again later on this morning from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, where we learn different things from different people. We get to leverage OPE, other people's experience, in the many books that have been written, where a lot of knowledge, wisdom has been captured, and things that we can use, things that we can learn, things that we can pass on, because our purpose in life is to live, learn, and pass it on. And may we always be the wind beneath each other's wings, where we are partners in each other's development and growth, and we support each other wherever possible. Yasas, take care. Filakya from this wonderful location up here at Port Stephens. I'm at Fingal Bay Spit, and it's early morning. There's no wind at all. We have a sunrise. Even though there's a bit of cloud out there, it is still beautiful, and it's just wonderful to be alive. So let's finish off with my positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. And I'll sign off now and wish you all the very best for the rest of the day. Yasas, and bye for now.